I met a gypsy.
You know what it is, maybe? And you mentioned this in a previous show as well. And it is the cool thing about this. When you're riding as fast as you can,
it all feels the same.
It all feels the same.
Yeah.
And it is one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Now, I admire what you've done this year. You're riding and training a lot. I'm even envious of just that much time. I would love to, so I'm even lower than you. But I know it's true.
It's like, the same, yeah.
If I get to ride 4 times a year, I know what that feeling, those 4 times, is just like Jet Lawrence.
Yeah.
It's 80% slower, but it's the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that is that different than other motorsports? Maybe.
Yeah, and because I think so. Like for example, well, I guess it's kind of the same in the example I always use is like the fuck I've got to hit the brakes.
Yeah,
like everyone has that.
Yes.
Like
yep.
You could be going to like a cone on a drag strip and you're like, just stop here.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get like the thrill and the rush and like that is literally the anxiety of going, fuck, I need to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
And if you've gone too far and you're doing this math in your head and it's just like, so like the feeling that James would experience braking for a corner or like pinning it fast down a downhill section with ruts and braking bumps.
Yeah.
The same, I would assume, the same anxiety of like, okay, fuck, too fast, got to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
It's just happening way down the road, like way down the track and at 40 miles an hour more than me. And I think that is different. And when I did a lap on the back of Miller's bike, like wasn't a MotoGP bike, it was like a super bike.
I did one at Moto America. I did it,
Dude,
yeah.
That you can't fathom.
No.
I'm not doing the same thing. I've done a lap around the track on a bike and we ain't doing the same shit. Like
that he was able to do
gnarly.
with you as a passenger.
Oh, bro.
Yes, exactly.
So crazy.
And a lot of people buy street motorcycles maybe don't even do track days.
No.
So now you've really disconnected that feeling of you can't even do apexes. You're on the street.
Yeah.
So, and you definitely shouldn't be going fast enough to experience what the wind buffeting would be like at that speed. So maybe there's, at that point, it's so disconnected, the experience.
Yeah.
Where we at least feel, 100%. When you grease a rutted corner.
Yeah, same shit.
You're like, damn, that felt good. Or
I am the man.
Yeah. And it's probably looks horrible if you see it from the outside, but what you felt was the same as those guys.
Yeah. Dude, perfect example is at Glen Helen.
Mm-hmm.
They got the finish line jump, and then there's kind of like this little tabletop, and it's kind of just like a shitty tabletop, right? Yeah. And then you brake. So you jump the tabletop and then you brake and then it goes into a 90-degree right-hand turn.
Okay.
And it gets so rough.
Yeah.
So now what I do is I jump before the tabletop, land on top of the tabletop, and then jump off and land over the braking bumps.
Oh!
So slow. Oh. So slow.
No, but that's so sick.
Fuck, I'm Jet Lawrence in that moment.
You're jumping braking bumps. Oh my God.
Dude, and you feel like the man.
You do.
And there was another section out the back, couple sand rollers, and I'm like, bop, bop. And I'm like, oh, bro, I'm good at this. Like, just for this 1 second, I'm that good.
Yeah, so that's it. We have this connection. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe because the bikes look the same. Maybe it's just because we're lucky that the manufacturers think of it that way.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with James Stewart this year. He likes to pick my brain at times only to hear what does a normal person think?
Yeah.
And he once said to me, he's like, what do you even know? What do you notice in a bike? He's probably never asked the average dude.
Yeah, just a normal
And I'm
person.
like, I'm going to blow your mind, dude.
Nothing.
I don't really know if I know suspension is good or bad. And he's like, that's all I know.
Yeah.
Like, that's all he's thinking about, suspension. And I'm like, I can't, it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know if it's just the track is rough or I suck that day. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can tell if a bike can turn better or not. I can tell if a bike feels heavy. Certainly I can feel how the power delivery works. Anyway, he wanted to know, like, what does a normal person even feel on a bike? And as we went down this...
What's this like for a human?
Right. So as we went down this road in this conversation, he stumbled upon this great point, which is, isn't it funny that fans watch the bikes in Supercross and listen to what the riders say about their bikes in Supercross, and they equate that to the way the production bike must be.
Yeah.
But they're talking about it on a Supercross track.
Yeah.
Now we're really getting to that disconnect. Like, you're deciding if that KTM is good because of how it does in whoops. But you will never skim whoops. Not once. It's not even on your list. Who cares how it...
Yeah.
But we still believe.
Hey, and props to Prado for saying that in the podcast. Like, I was literally sitting there thinking like, fuck, this is kind of brutal for KTM. And I'm like,
I know.
And I'm like trying to change the subject in a way because I'm like, all right, I don't want this to reflect poorly on me in terms of like, I'm digging, you know. But like, that was one of the best one of the best like rider interviews in terms of just like honesty and just like, I mean, it's pretty Euro. Like
I was gonna say, how much of that is cultural, dude?
Yeah, they're so Euro.
There's Euro, and then Spain or Italian Euro is taking it like 20% more, man. They don't have a filter.
No, but that's so sick. And like that message should also be communicated to the average guy. Like, hey, if you think KTM sucks this year because Cooper Webb's struggling through the whoops, you're wrong.
Their bike is actually, for the average guy, improved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Because James and I, then as we went down that road of like, okay, so the fan looks at the bike in Supercross and the results and kind of bases their purchase decision on that.
Yeah.
So now the brand is under pressure to build a bike that can win Supercross races because that's what the fans are looking at, even though that type of bike is probably worse for the consumer, but it's what the consumer wants to buy.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.